Connect the goal to who you want to become. This is where your identity aligns with your purpose.
Welcome, everybody. We're now talking to professionals, and what we do really well as professionals is we, work the numbers. If you want something, all you have to do is measure it, was the thinking. So the goal isn't about numbers, performance, or outcomes. It's about identity first. That's why step 3 is really important. So for someone who's practicing being and then letting the measurement simply confirm that identity over time, that's what you want to accomplish. So this is a shift for a lot of educators. And because we're training and we've trained to start with outcomes, we got to change the way we think. So step 3 asks us to reverse that order. Think about who you're becoming when you achieve your goal, and then change the order from here's who I am. In order to get there, what did I do? So that's reversing the order. So from your perspective, Brenton, why is this so important that teachers clearly understand and teach the rules of writing a good goal, a strong goal, before students ever write one themselves? And what breaks when they don't? So if they don't do it, what happens? Brenton.
Well, George, it's only that fairly recently I've actually started using this approach. I mean, I remember in the early coaching, the goal was a statement, and then we started talking about a SMART goal, which speaks to what you had just been saying. And now we're talking about the rules, which is a much more human and a much more holistic approach to defining the goal. So I actually think we've come quite a long way, and I think this is quite a, you might think subtle, but quite a powerful addition to how we actually form up the goal. Because I think in the past, students have been writing impressive goals, but don't actually guide behaviour. And I think what this brings to the table is the behaviour. And I think it won't be long, George, before the SMART goal will be replaced by the whatever those letters are into a word, because I think this is the next generation of thinking. So I think the rules add that human dimension. I think it adds a depth to the goal that I haven't been using in my coaching until recently, which is, I think, a big step forward. And I think it actually brings to the student, which perhaps hasn't been there before, a more solid foundation for their behaviours in terms of the goal and relating to the goal. So I think it's more about not just the results and the simple goal. There's a deeper thinking which it brings to bear, and it provides a framework, an additional framework. So George, when I know that I'm really getting traction with this thinking is when I hear the student or the person I'm coaching, when they say, I've never thought of it like that before, and that's when I know they're actually the lights are going on, and I think that's a real power to their goal setting and their approach to that goal. So having said that, I'm interested in Kyle's thinking. When you look at this step 3, Kyle, how does that writing a goal as an identity instead of an outcome change how the students you work with, how they show up day to day, Kyle?
Yeah, I think it's something that's really like flipping the switch from how they perceive goals or how they even perceive the word success. It flips it to a point where it completely drops the amount of pressure that they feel. Instead of that, they're always going for these potentially unrealistic targets or goals that they set as outcomes, and they keep falling short. That will just keep building pressure up more and more. And if they can change their goal setting to be more on the inputs, the things that they have control over, the things that they can tangibly change, things that they have the ability to practice and do different today than what happened yesterday, the outcomes will be what they will be. And you can just let that happen and know that you don't really have control over those outputs. And if you have your mind set on the things that you can control and the things that you can do, that pressure can just melt away. So when you think about the way that you look at what's the external factors when your goals are set on those outcomes, it's like the pole to to climb, or the scores, the grades you maybe want to try to get. Other people, other than yourself, can see the results that happen. So it can feel like you're being judged by others with that type of goal setting. But when the goals are more based on what's the kind of behavior I want to have, it's more internal, it's more personal, and it's more something that is within your own control. And it's not something that external kind of bystanders can really know what's going on, right? So it becomes something that's more, you're almost in your own bubble and safe. And you can be like an anchor of the stability and safety that your goals are your own. And it's not other people judging you from the outside. And it's a place that can give you that feeling of almost like a safe harbor, where no matter what's going on, if you end up in troubled waters, you can just go back to your safe harbor, back to your goals, to your behaviors, the things you want to practice, and they're things that you have control of, and there's not people on the outside judging you. So George, bring it back to you. How should teachers reinforce that distinction when students keep drifting back to the results-oriented goals?
That's a great question. When I think of that, it's the way we were brought up. So the teacher can't say to the student, look, you're wrong, this is what I want you to do. They've got to slowly encourage, and encouragement is what this is all about. You want to build the student's confidence, encourage them through asking questions like, what are you trying to accomplish this for? Just think a little deeper, give them a little bit of time. They'll figure out and they'll make the connection to their future. And as soon as they do, the game is won, because it's their future, not yours. Don't try to influence them. Don't try to push them. Definitely don't correct them. And I always said that's one of the worst habits a teacher has, is that the habit of correcting others, because, it comes from more like an egotistical point from within, as if I know more than you do. So the key is just encourage the student to always work at it. They'll go at their own pace, but if they have a strong enough connection to the future, everything will fall in line from this point on. You don't have to do anything spectacular. Okay, which brings us to, like, as an educator, professional, or even a coach consultant, the biggest mindset shift for educators is to basically to teach step 3 well, because that's the starting point. And Brenton, I don't know what your comments are on that.
Yeah, look, I think George, one of the main benefits of this approach, I think, is actually it reinforces self-reliance. I think one of the greatest errors of approach for a coach or a teacher, I think, is that wanting to control the narrative and control the behaviour. It's been that common theme through the conversation this morning, I think. And I believe that taking this approach, it really reinforces that whole area of being self-reliant, and it speaks to the rules speak to that from where I'm sitting. So I think, in summary, it's really about for me let the coach or teacher not wanting to control the narrative and having that and you mentioned the egotistical, perhaps it's about them. It's about the student. And I think what this brings to the table is it reinforces the whole concept of self-reliance in that coachee or student is really what's coming to my mind. I'm interested from your perspective, Kyle, if a teacher takes away one thing from this step 3 from your perspective, in their classroom tomorrow, what do you think it would be?
Yeah, and I don't think I'm not coming up with something new to say, but I'm echoing things I've already heard both yourself and George say today. Not rushing the goal, not trying to give them the goal or force them into choosing something, but allowing them to figure it out for themselves, understand what it means to them, for picking a goal that resonates with their identity and who they want to become, who they want to be. It might help as a coach to the students to demonstrate examples of, here's examples of goals that are more kind of outcome based, right? Where they're related to the goals that are gonna not be achievable, not get you down the right path. And then here's some examples of some really good goals that are more focused on that identity and what you'd have control over, so that it's easy for them to recognize the difference and compare ideas that they have themselves to those examples, so that when they try coming up with their own goals, they can self-assess and decide when they feel like they've figured out what is meaningful to them and resonates with them as an individual.
Wonderful. So that's step 3. I just want to reiterate, step 3 is complete when you look at the rules and the goal has those rules respected and it's in the goal itself. So important. Now, step 4 is going to be build half of the OW64. But we got to pick 4 pillars first. And normally there's 8 pillars to the OW64. We call them pillars. They're areas of focus. So when you think, what are 4 areas I'm really going to focus on? That's the next step for the student, so you can get them to start thinking about it. As they recraft their goal, think of what areas, working backwards from this person, I am this person, what areas of focus does this person spend time on? Okay, so you're going to list 4 areas, and then we're going to build around that in step 5 and complete the OW64 in step 6. Thank you very much.